Hi everyone! So today we're going to be moving on to geography and we are looking at the physical features of an area. So what is a physical feature? So a physical feature is something that is natural. So it's not something that a human has built or made, it was something that you'll find in the environment naturally. So it's not a house or a road because those are all things that have been made. It's something that would be there if humans never existed. This thing would still be about. So let's look at some examples of these physical features. So our first physical feature is a beach. What is a beach? Well, a beach, we can see a picture of it here, has sand or pebbles left from the sea. So on the floor of the beach, on the ground, it's going to be sand or pebbles. Sand is very fine and pebbles are very small rocks. So on the floor we might find sand and pebbles. The sea comes onto a beach. So where the sand and pebbles end, or in fact, they don't end, the sea comes over the top of them. So here we can see where the beach ends and the sea rolls up onto it. So we have the sand and the pebbles and the sea rolling onto the beach. We might also see waves crashing on the beach. We might see waves crashing on the beach from the sea. It's also part of the beach. We might find things on the beach like little shells and small rocks, and all these things are part of a beach. Do we have a beach in Sheffield? Have a little think. Have you ever seen anything like this in Sheffield? No, we don't have a beach in Sheffield because Sheffield is not near the coast, and we'll discuss what the coast is in a minute. But Sheffield does not have a beach and it does not have the sea near it. So let's look at some more images of the beach. So beaches don't always look alike. So here we can see this beach has lots of sand. So sand is very fine. If you held it in your hand, it would fall through your fingers. This beach is sandy. And here we can see we can have the water rolling up onto the sand. In the background, we've got some mountains, and that is this beach. But this beach here, I can see lots and lots of little pebbles. This is a pebbly beach. And here are some big cliffs, and here is the sea rolling onto the beach. So some beaches have sand and some beaches have pebbles, but all beaches have the sea rolling onto them. Here's a different beach. I don't think this beach is in England. This beach has sand and it looks like it has a jungle or a forest surrounding it. So we have the sea here, the blue sea rolling onto the sandy beach, and some plants and some trees and a jungle surrounding it. We've got another pebbly beach here. So we've got lots and lots of pebbles, but it looks like underneath the pebbles there is also sand. So some beaches have sand and pebbles. We've got the sea rolling up onto it. We might find things like shells in here from all the creatures that live in the sea. We might find seaweed, all these different things. Down here, we've got another beach. This bit all around here is the beach. It's very, very sandy. I can see some pebbles. I can see that the sea is rolling onto the beach. These are all beaches. They don't always look alike, but we know the beach is the bit of land that meets the sea. So the beach is any part of land that meets the sea. It all looks different. Every beach you go to will look a little bit different, but they all have sand or pebbles or both. The sea meeting, we might find things like shells, we might find bits of forest or jungle, we might find cliffs, or we might find mountains, but it's all where land meets the sea. Okay, so our next physical feature is a cliff. So what is a cliff? So we know a cliff are very high. So this is our beach down here. The cliffs aren't always at the beach, but this one is. So this is our beach, and these are all people. And look how tall our cliff is. That's a little person there. You see that tiny person there? So that's a person that is taller probably than you and me. And look how small they are compared to this really, really tall cliff. Look how small they are. So we know that cliffs are very high. Sometimes cliffs finish in the sea. Sometimes cliffs finish in the sea. So we can see that this cliff is finishing, and then the sea, when it comes in, will roll all the way up to the bottom of that cliff. They are made of rocks and ground. This is a natural feature. So this cliff is made of rocks and ground. You can go up to it and touch it, and it would be rough and it would feel like rock, like dirt. It might be dirty. It might have bits of grass or plants growing in it. But this cliff will be made of rocks and ground, and they are very steep. So steep means that you could not walk down this. Because sometimes, like in Sheffield, we have some hills and they feel like they're very steep. But if we're careful, we can walk up and down them. Or if we walk up them, we might get really tired, but we can get up them. But this cliff is so steep that if you try to walk down it, you would just fall straight down because it is super steep. But not all cliffs look the same, so let's have a look at the different cliffs we've got here. So here we've got some cliffs going into the sea, and I can't see any beaches here underneath these cliffs. These cliffs go straight into the sea with no beaches. You can see here all these cliffs. Do you think you could walk down here? Do you think you could walk down here? Okay, so this cliff has no beach and goes straight into the sea. We can see it's super steep. So do you think you could walk down here? Do you think you could walk down here? Oh no, I don't think so. I think you'd fall straight off it because we know that cliffs are super steep, and steep means that we can't walk down them. That they're really really steep, and we'll fall straight off them. Let's have this cliff here. This cliff here goes all the way around here. I can see that there is a little bit of a beach at the bottom of this cliff. It does go into the sea. Is it steep? Let's have a look. Well, if I walked along here and then got to the edge, I would fall straight down. So I know that this cliff is super steep. It's hard to tell from the pictures, but I can see it's very tall. So this is a cliff as well. And this cliff looks a bit different to this one because this one has like grass on it and some plants growing. And this one doesn't have any of that, but they're both cliffs. This cliff here, this cliff goes straight into the sea with no beaches. So this cliff goes all the way around here, all the way around here. We can see here, this is the top of the cliff. So you can see at the top of the cliff, there is grass growing. And if you walked straight over here, you would fall all the way down to the sea because it's super steep. We can see here from the top of the cliff that the sea looks really far away. So we can see that it's super high. So this is the cliff. This cliff here is white, and this cliff is in Dover. It's called the White Cliffs of Dover. It goes straight into the sea here, as you can see. You can see how tall it is, because look how tall this cliff is, because this is a boat here. And this is a really big boat. This boat is bigger than our classroom. This boat is so big. And this boat is tiny compared to this cliff. That means this cliff is really high. It's also really steep. So if you walked along the top of this cliff and then off the edge, you would fall straight down because it is super steep. And here's another cliff here. And here we've got a beach at the bottom of this cliff here. We've also got a bit of a village at the top here, but we're not going to talk about the village because we're only talking about physical features today. So things that humans have not made. Things people have not made. Here is the cliff. It's super steep. Do you think you can walk down here? You want to go to the beach? Could you take that as a shortcut? No, I think you'd fall down. So this is also a cliff. Okay, so now we're going to talk about the sea and ocean. So England is surrounded by seas. So England is where we live and it is surrounded by seas. So if you drove your car in any direction, you kept driving in England, eventually you would come to some water. The water might be a bit salty. The water would be salty, and that would be the sea. And England is surrounded by the sea. The Earth is made up of big areas of water called oceans. So we use the word ocean when it's a really big area of water, and we use the word sea when it's near the coast, when it's near land and it's surrounded by a bit of land. We use the word sea. So there's the word sea, which is where we sort of say, you know, next to the beach is the sea. The sea comes onto the beach. But if we're talking about the really big amounts of water, like here, this goes on for so far. Look how big this is. There's so many different fish in here and different animals. This is the ocean. And there are 5 big oceans that make up the Earth. Okay, so 5 huge oceans make up the Earth. But if it's near the coast, if it's near the beach, it is the sea. Bit complicated, but there's 2 words that are very similar. Okay, and sometimes there are ways. Let's have a look at some pictures of some different seas. So here I've got some pictures of different seas. So here, this bit, is this a sea or an ocean? Well, I can see some land here. I can see some land here, and I can see land here. So this bit of water is surrounded by land. That makes this a sea because it is surrounded by land. Wow, look at this. Yes, this is a wave. So sometimes seas and oceans have waves. This is a wave. So it's a huge body of water. If you would stand next to this, you would be about this big. This would be you here next to this wave. Absolutely tiny. This wave is so big. And this wave is out in the ocean. It is huge because I can't see any land. So this is the ocean. This picture here, I can't see any land, but I know that here, where the picture is taken from, is the beach. This is the beach, and somebody's taken this picture standing on the beach. So because this water is going onto the beach, this is the sea. And we can see here, the sea also has waves. So these waves are coming onto the beach. And some people might try and surf these waves. I know we've talked about what a surfboard is from the book we read the other week in class. So here's a little person surfing that wave. So it's a sea because it's coming onto the beach. So this picture here, I can just see lots and lots of water and I can't see any land. What would this be? It would be the ocean. Ocean, fantastic. What about this picture? Can we see any land? No. Does it look like it's a huge amount of water? Yes. Well, then this is an ocean. Ocean. Fantastic. So we have the word sea, we have the word ocean. They are both the salty water that makes up the earth, that surrounds countries. But if it's right next to the beach, if it's right next to the coast, we call it the sea. And if it's the really, really big amounts of water out with no land near it, we call it the ocean. Okay, so I've mentioned a couple of times the word coast. So here we looked at a picture like this before. So here we have a cliff and we have a beach, and I can see that this is the sea, but this whole picture is the coast. So the coast is anywhere the country ends, the land ends, and it goes into the sea. So at the coast we might find cliffs, we might find beaches, we will definitely find the sea. As you go further out, you go into the ocean. So the ocean is out there. Ocean, this is my cliff here, and this is my beach. And all together, this makes my coast. So the coast is the word we use to describe the whole picture. The coast is the whole picture, and then we might use words like cliff, beach, sea to describe elements of the coast. So we know that there may be cliffs, there may be beaches. The coast is, we have coast all the way around England because England is surrounded by the sea, so all together this is the coast. There are coasts all the way around England, and it's anywhere the sea meets land. So cliffs and the beach are all land, and the sea and the ocean is what meets the land to create the coast. Do we have a coast in Sheffield? Does Sheffield have a coast? Let's have a think. Well, to have a coast, we need cliffs or a beach. We definitely need the sea. No, Sheffield does not have a coast. Let's have a look at some different pictures of the coast. So here we can see at this coast, it has what looks like a little town, but we don't need to discuss that because we're looking at physical features. It has a beach, and it has a sea, and this is the coast. It looks like the coast goes all the way around this part of land, all the way around this part of land. On both sides is the coast. Let's look at this coast here. I can see some cliffs here, some cliffs, some rocks, not really much of a beach. But I can see that this is where the sea meets the land. So this is the coast. Here I can see a beach. I can see a beach. I can see a cliff. I can see the sea. I can see waves here. So I know that this is the coast. Altogether, this is the coast. All these elements help make the coast. Let's look at this picture. So I can see the sea here. I can see that this here is a cliff. I can see a beach. I can see some waves. Altogether, what is this called? It is the coast. Fantastic. Let's look at this one. Let's ignore the town. We're looking at physical features. I can see some forests and some trees. We talked about before. Sometimes beaches have forests and trees at the edge of them. We can see the beach here, and we can see the sea coming onto the beach. So all together, this is called the coast. Last one. Here I can see some plants and some grass. So we sometimes see this. I can see a beach. I can see the sea. This is called the coast. Fantastic. So all these elements make up the coast. So let's see if we can watch this little video about different places. Okay, so here's a little video about the coastline, all the things you might see. If you can't see or hear this video, I'll post a link in a minute on the slide. So here we can see that this is the sea because it's surrounding some land. I can see some cliffs. Here I can see some rocks on the beach. This is the beach. These also might be cliffs. So cliffs, a pebbly, rocky beach down there. I can see the sea coming on. Now I can see the ocean. So this here is the coast. I can see some cliffs. I can see a beach. I can see the sea. I can see all the way out there, which goes out to the ocean. So now we're going out to the ocean. Look how big the ocean is compared to us tiny little people. See waves, we know that the sea and the ocean both have waves. Look at those waves. Big cliffs and the beach here and the sea. All together it makes the coast. And the big cliffs and the sea surrounding you. Sea surrounds land. This is the sea. See some more land out there, so I know that this is also the sea. I'm going to play. Brilliant. Okay, I had a little bit of video issues with the video then towards the end. If you couldn't see that video, I've posted the link here for you to see now. Okay, so what kind of things did we see in that picture? What did we see? Well, I definitely saw some beaches. I saw some pebbly and some rocky beaches. I saw some sandy beaches. I saw some cliffs. In fact, I saw this cliff here, the one with the horseshoe cliff, and that's down south somewhere. And the beaches. I saw lots of the sea, and as we went further out from the coast, it became the ocean. I saw cliffs. I saw how big the cliffs were. Lots of little people. I saw waves. What kind of things did you see? Take a minute now to pause this video and tell me what kind of things you saw. Okay, so we're going to keep looking. So the next thing we're going to look at is a forest. So a forest is an area with lots of trees, might be full of wildlife, full of lots of animals like squirrels and hedgehogs and deer. There may be leaves or mud on the floor. And there may be smaller plants growing around the trees. We've got these huge trees here in our forest. I just realised mud is not, that is mood, not mud. Mud. We've got huge trees here. We've got all these little trees growing down here. On the floor, this is mud and parts of the trees and leaves. And we might have, can't see in this picture, we might have lots of little animals. So forests also look like this. So forest might be really, really dense with lots of trees. You can barely walk through it. It's so crowded. The trees could be so tall that you can't even see the top of them. The trees may be on the ground where they've died and fallen over. It might be really spread out like this one, so you can walk all through it and all through the trees. There might be big rocks and boulders. There might be grass, but these are all forests. What is a hill? So a hill is the next word we're going to look at, a hill. So a hill is a high but not really big raised piece of area or land. So here we can see that this, do you think you can walk up here? Well, I can see a path up there. So I can see that I can walk up there. So although it is higher than the flat ground down here, it's not super high. We could walk up it. We could probably walk up it in an hour or so with a sandwich at the top and we'd be okay. So a hill is often covered in plants and trees. So at the top, we've got some trees up there. We can see lots of grass, lots of plants going on. They're always rounded. So they're always nice and round. So you can see here, it goes all the way up. It's not really pointy at the top. It's nice and round. It goes back down. So here's some different pictures of hills. You see how they're all rounded. So this one's nice and rounded. This one is rounded. This one's also covered in, those are little sheep, those. That's a little sheep. That's a little sheep. They're all little sheep. This one here is a beautiful hill. Look how round this hill is. Can you show me rounded with your hands? Rounded. So it's not pointy. It's rounded. Fantastic. Here's another hill. It's nice and rounded. You can see they all have bits going on them. It's got lots of bits of grass. It's got some trees. It's got lots of plants. These are all hills. Okay. And now we're going to look at a cave. So a cave is a natural hole in the earth. So you see here that we have like a cliff here, a cliff or the side of a hill here, and we can see this is a cave. So you could walk in here, you'd be able to stand inside this rock, inside this big, massive cliff or hillside, be able to stand inside it in this cave. Some of them are underwater, some of them might be wet, some of them are on the side of cliffs, some of them are on the side of hills. Inside they might be quite dark because there's no light in there because it's just a hole in the side of a cliff or a big rock. They are surrounded by rock and earth and dirt. Let's have a look at some pictures of some different caves. So this one here is right next to the coast. So we can see that there's water, sea here, and this is a cliff. So we know that this is the coast. And this cliff here, this cave here, sorry, is inside the cliff. Can you see how dark it is in there? Do you think you'd be able to see without a torch or a lamp? No, so they're super dark because light can't get inside there because it's all blocked by the rest of the cave. No one's dug that, no one's made that hole. It's just something that naturally occurs. and you can go inside it. So this one might be quite wet because it's next to the coast, and that water, when the tide comes in, might have gone in there, so it might be quite wet. This is another one here. So you can see this one has a really big opening. And as you go further in, it gets smaller and smaller and darker. So you might not want to go all the way in. I don't think I would. I'd be quite scared. This one is massive. These guys have got lights. You see here, the reason this cave is not dark is because he's lighting up with this light. You can see over here it is dark around the edges because that's where his light is not hitting. So this cave is super big. So look at the size of that man there, and then look at the size of this cave. So some caves are huge and some caves are tiny. And this cave is underwater. So this is a diver and he's under the water. So I don't know if you can see it, but this is all water. That's the top of the water there. And he's swimming through this cave. This cave is underwater, probably in the sea. Okay, so we're going to look at our activity for today. We're just going to go at sorting some of these images. So I'm going to do one with you. So we'll look at my images and see how I can sort them. Oh, so what can I see in this image? Well, I can see that this is a cliff. This is a cliff. Fantastic. I can also see the sea. I'm not sure exactly what I'm meant to group it as. So I'm going to pop this picture over here and see if I can find any other pictures to match it. Here, I can see a cliff here as well. I can see a cliff here as well. I can also see the sea. I know that this is the top of the cliff. It's quite similar to the other picture, so I'm going to put it up there with it. This picture is just water and waves. So this picture looks like it might be the sea or the ocean. Well, that's different to this picture because there's no cliff in it. So I'm going to pop it over here. Or this picture. Well, this picture I can see water and I can see a little bit of a pebbly beach and a little bit of a rock. But I can't see a cliff, and all these pictures have cliffs in. So I'm going to put it up here with these pictures. This picture, I can see a giant wave, and lots of water. Can't see any land, so it's most likely this is the ocean or the sea. So I'm going to pop this picture with these two. And last one, I've got another cliff here, another cliff surrounded by the sea, with that up here. And I'm going to label them. But these pictures are all of the coast. They're all of land areas near the coast. I can't see any beaches and I can't see any features. I can only see cliffs and sea. So I think these pictures are all representing cliffs. Ooh. Cliffs. Fantastic. And these pictures, although I can see a little bit of a beach here, I can't see any land in these two pictures, and I can see a lot of sea in this picture. So I think these are all seas. Sea or ocean. Fantastic. So I have sorted my pictures into two groups and I've labelled what I think these two groups are. So on the screen for you now is your activity for today. You can download this off the school website. You can pick it up from school and complete it, or you can copy it off here. I would like you to sort these two pictures and then label what you think these two pictures could be from the vocab we have learnt today. Okay, year one, thanks very much. I will see you tomorrow for some more lessons. I hope you have a lovely afternoon and carry on with your activities that are on the board right now. Off you go. Okay, bye, year one.